Hello, my dear children. Namaste and welcome to Chapter 2 of our CBSE Class 9 Biology, Tissues. This is Ambika, your biology master teacher, right here at Vedantu. Okay, guys, so let's get started. We are already done with the first chapter, which was the fundamental unit of life, which was a very simple one, yet a very, very basic one. Well, I would personally say it forms a base for your understanding of any complex concept in biology. Okay, not just this chapter, but even like in future, if you had to learn more and more about physiology, anatomy, and all of that, fundamental unit of life is very, very important to have a thorough understanding about. So today, let's get started with one level higher, the tissues. But before we jump right into the contents, let me tell you something positive. Yes, think positive and be positive. Come what may, every day may not be the same. All of us may have bad days. All of us will definitely have bad days. But then it all depends on how we react to it. Of course, it's difficult. It's much easier said than done, because from personal experience, because I know that I'm also a very emotionally sensitive person in general. But then through experience, I have been, and I'm still learning how to react to different kinds of situations. So yes, I think positive thinking has a huge impact on your overall health also. So everything will automatically follow as long as our thoughts are optimistic and positive. Right, so let us move ahead. Today we are going to be learning about what tissues are and about meristematic tissues. What are they? They come under the category of plant tissues. Right, yes, tissue. What exactly is it? I told you, fundamental unit of life, and today we are going to be going one step higher. So, not every organism is made up of tissues. We must remember that to get started with. Simple unicellular organisms, of course, they have only one single cell which makes up their body. Amoeba, many bacteria, some fungi, many of them are made up of just one cell. But what exactly is a tissue? In our body, for instance, and in a plant body, for instance, having just groups of randomly scattered cells will not work. It won't do the trick of making all our life processes smooth. We need like proper organization. Remember, the human body is roughly made of about 40 trillion cells, 37 to 40 trillion cells, one human body. Imagine if all of that was scattered just like that. What would the case have been? I don't know, it's very hard to imagine. Life would definitely not have been as easy as it is seeming now, because in our body, nature has always had a very smart plan as and when more and more complex organisms evolved. Right, this is how tissues came into existence. So tissues are basically a group of cells which are similar in structure and to work together to perform a particular function in the body. Teamwork, team effort. Some cells are like, okay, we'll be one team. Many other cells in your body are like, okay, we are another team. We'll take care of digestion. Another group of cells is like, we'll take care of respiration. Another group of cells is like, we'll take care of circulation, and so on. Okay, children, so just one very, very important thing that all of us must know. Levels of organization in biology always starts with cell. Cell is the smallest unit of life in biology. Okay, and then groups of cells form what we call tissues. Okay, groups of tissues form what we call organs. Similar organs working towards a similar function form what we call organ systems. And groups of organ systems together form what we call an organism. So in our body, we are made up of different organ systems: our digestive system, respiratory system, circulatory system, nervous system, and so on. If you consider one of those systems, like digestive system, for instance, it's made up of many different organs. What are they? Maybe like the esophagus, the stomach, the small intestine, large intestine, liver, pancreas, all of them are organs. Think about one single organ among these. The small intestine, for instance, is made up of different tissues in it. Okay, and each tissue is made up of different cells. Okay, this is where it starts, and today we are going to be learning more about this level of organization, which is about tissue. Right? So moving ahead, although I told you that plants and animals both need to be both are complex organisms, both need to be made up of tissues, there is a huge difference between the types of tissues making up a plant and the type of tissues making up an animal body. This is basically because the life processes of both, the lifestyles of both are very, very different, right? One major difference between us and plants is that we do not perform photosynthesis, but plants perform the very important function of photosynthesis. So we are rather dependent on plants or other animals to meet our nutritional needs, whereas plants, they don't have to move around in search of food. They are basically like self-sufficient, and they perform photosynthesis, and hence we call it autotrophic mode of nutrition, right? So in our case, because there is a locomotion which happens, movement from one place to another, and of course movement of different kinds. In plants also movement does happen, but then movement is of completely different type as compared to animals. So because all of such differences exist between animals and plants, the types of tissues that make up plants and the type of tissues that make up us or other animals for that matter will be very, very different. So let's try and understand that. These are the major types of tissues which make up animals and plants. In plants, if you look at it, they are made up of two major types of tissues which we call meristematic and permanent. Okay, in today's session we will be talking mainly about meristematic tissues. Okay, then as far as animals are concerned, there are four major types of tissues in an animal body: epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, and nervous tissue. All that you see here: epithelial, connective, muscular, and nervous. We will be learning more and more about these in the upcoming sessions. So stay with me, children. Today we are going to be understanding more about meristematic tissues which are found in plants. So before that, let me tell you a few things. Yes, because this is a year in which the phase of education has completely changed because of all that is happening around the world. Of course, mainly because of the COVID pandemic, there are a lot of things that have changed, especially in a student's life. We completely understand that, and these are the problems which most of our children tell us that they've been facing this year. Like for instance, unanswered doubts because you don't meet your teachers on a daily basis. You just get to interact with them every now and then, and that may not seem sufficient for you. For some of you at least, not having proper notes is one major problem that I hear most of my students concerned about, come up and tell us about. And then tests and assignments, competitive exam preparation, choice of schedule, choice of language, all of this becomes a problem. But then not to worry at all, children. As long as you are associated with Vedantu, we are always here for your support. We are always here to support you solving all of these problems, along with giving you a lot of added bonuses like unlimited live classes, lots and lots of micro and crash courses, performance reports, personalized attention, and whatnot. Now, what are micro courses, children? Many of my students send me messages asking me, ma'am, what are micro courses? So micro courses are basically concept level or topic level or even chapter level courses designed exclusively for you in case you need special help only with specific chapters or topics or concepts. Okay, because we understand that everyone's learning pace may not be exactly the same. So maybe just one single long-term course where you are a batch of so many children may not do the trick. Micro courses are there completely to help you out in this regard. Of course, you also have the benefit of getting it taught by your favorite teachers at Vedantu also. In case you're confused, all you need to do is visit this link vdnt.in/ytpro. I'll just guide you very quickly through the steps here. Choose your grade. For you guys, it's going to be grade 9. Okay, you go to that link which I shared. You get to choose your grade first, and then you need to select your target. For you guys, I'm assuming it's going to be CBSE 2021. If it's any other grade or board, choose it accordingly. Okay, this is just an example. Check out all the details. I think I've listed out the most common features of the Vedantu Pro courses already, but we also have a lot of added bonus features which you can see all here. Right, so go through all of them well in detail. And currently we do have offers running for these courses. So what you have to do is just click on the button, get subscription, and then what? Here we present to you the pricing also for 1 month, 3 months and the 6 months plan of pro subscription courses. When I say 1 month of subscription, I mean that for 1 full month you have unlimited access to all of the features that I have told you. Many of them are mentioned here: unlimited live interactive classes, test series and analysis, assignments and notes, and of course a lot more. The normal pricing for this for a 1 month of subscription is 2,699, whereas application of the code AMBPRO will reduce it to 2,294.15. This is for 1 full month of subscription to the pro courses. For 3 months, if you want to be tension free, leave everything to Vedantu, we do have the pricing for that as well. Unlimited access to all of these features for 3 months would normally cost you 6,999. But then you have the option of availing a discount by using the coupon code AMBPRO, which is going to reduce it to 5,949.15. Okay, children, for 3 months, unlimited access to all of these. And we have one more, which is unlimited access to 6 full months, which means I think roughly till the end of this academic year, you're going to be having unlimited access to all of these features. So what do you do for that? Normally the amount payable is 11,499, but then application of the same coupon code AMBPRO will fetch you a very good discount and reduce it to 9,774.15. In case you're confused about, whether this is reasonably priced or whether this is on the expensive side, I leave it completely to you to decide based on how much you estimate it to, estimate one session to cost you. What I'm trying to tell you is, for 6 full months of unlimited access, it's going to cost you this much. For 6 full months, if it's going to be this much per session, how much is it going to cost you? Just do the math for yourself, children, and understand it for yourself through this calculation. Trust me, this is a very pocket-friendly price. But of course, choose it according to your needs, according to your interests, according to your budget also. But all that I'm telling you is, just give it a try. Do not give up on this idea without even thinking about it. Per session cost, come to that estimate and then decide it for yourself. Righto, and let's move ahead. Quick check. Right here, a group of cells which are similar and together perform same function are called dash. Think of the levels of organization I told you. And your time is up. The answer is tissue, of course, beyond doubt. Dash among the following is one of the major animal tissue types. Okay. Apical, lateral, permanent, epithelial. And your time is up. The answer is epithelial. A, B and C are all examples of plant tissues. And well done, children. We are just getting started. And one introduction, I think a basic and a decent introduction to this chapter is done. And now we go on to learning plant tissues more in detail. Now, plant tissues, as I told you, the needs of the plant are very different as compared to the needs of an animal. So based on the type of cells which make up a plant body, we know the difference in cell types, right? I have told you that in the first chapter. They have a cell wall to provide them with additional rigidity. They have the chloroplast and centrioles are absent, unlike in the case of an animal cell. And a lot of such differences exist between a plant cell and an animal cell. Based on the type of cells, plant tissues are of 2 major types: meristematic and permanent. Now, permanent, I think, is giving you some kind of an idea about what it's going to be. Permanent is permanent. Literally, what's the English meaning of permanent? Something that that lasts a lifetime. You, for instance, think about a temporary job or a part-time job, and think about a permanent job rather. There may be people who work in like some kind of a government job for more than 30-35 years in their lifetime. There may also be people who take up like a small internship or some kind of a temporary job to maybe for different purposes, for different needs, maybe for 2 months, maybe for 3 months, 6 months, 1 year or whatever. That's a temporary thing. Okay, so permanent, the meaning is pretty much the same. It is permanent. It doesn't change once it has assumed a permanent role. But then meristematic tissues are a little different. So what is it exactly? Is it some kind of a temporary tissue? Well, let's try and understand that. Okay. How do meristematic tissues look under the microscope? Roughly like this. It's just a cluster of cells, as you can see. The major features, if you observe the picture and compare it with what's written here, is that they've got dense cytoplasm. They've got a prominent nucleus. They've got a relatively thin cell wall, and they lack vacuoles. There is a very strong reason why they lack vacuoles and they have a prominent nucleus and all of that. Let me tell you that, children, to tell you in one line, meristematic tissues in plants are those tissues that actively divide all the time, that keep dividing constantly, very quickly. They just keep dividing constantly. Okay, so we say they are young tissues in a plant body. So what do all of these features have to do with that? Well, they have a dense cytoplasm, a prominent nucleus, and a thin cell wall, all to help them actively divide. Okay, they need to have enough machinery which will help them divide actively. Likewise, why do they have to lack vacuoles? Some of you may wonder. In fact, the truth is that vacuoles, what do they do in a plant cell? In a plant cell, if you remember from the previous chapter, they have a large vacuole, right? Basically, it stores excess food and excess water, and it also provides rigidity to the plant cell. Whereas in the case of actively dividing cells which are like the cell gets formed, within some time it divides, and then the daughter cells are formed, within some time they divide as well, and so on. So a vacuole doesn't really have much of a role in a meristematic tissue, because not much of storage is too much of a task for a vacuole in a meristematic tissue. Okay, likewise, there's one more reason that they lack vacuoles. Because they occupy so much of space inside a meristematic cell, it may end up being a hindrance to these actively dividing cells. It may literally it may be hindrance to them. These are the two major reasons why meristematic tissues lack vacuoles. I have seen that this question, why do meristematic tissues lack vacuoles? It's like one exam favorite question, children. So do remember why this happens. As long as you know what exactly the purpose of meristematic tissues is, I don't think you will have any trouble writing the answer for this. Okay, so yes, tissues in which cells divide actively throughout the life of a plant is what meristematic tissues are. And there are meristematic tissues which you would find in different parts of the plant. Based on their location in the plant body, there are three major types of meristematic tissues: apical meristem, intercalary meristem, and lateral meristem. All you need to do is literally know the meaning of the terms apical, intercalary, and lateral, and that's it. You will be able to identify what their functions would be as well. This is what they look like in a plant body. Apical meristem, we give them the term apical, the name apical, because they are found at the apex of the plant body, basically growing tips of the plant body, shoot tips, root tips, and so on, is where you would find apical meristem. So what do you think they would do if they are found at the tips of the plant body? If these cells carry out continuous and active division, what do you think would be the effect on the overall plant body? They would increase in height, right? So they help in plant growth. Now coming to intercalary meristem. Intercalary meristem, as you can see, is found somewhere in the middle region. What exactly do? They are found in a place where apical meristem, it's not the tip of the plant body, rather they are found at the internodes, regions which we call internodes in a plant body, spaces between adjacent nodes in a plant body. Not to worry, in case you don't know what a node is also, we are coming to more details about that very soon. Within like 2-3 minutes, I'll be telling you one of these each of these in detail. That's about intercalary meristem. And then we have lateral meristem. What do you think lateral literally means in English? It means sides. Right. So if there are tissues on the sides of the plant body, like you see in this region and this region, what do you think it will happen? Like they are continuously dividing on the sides of the plant body. Forget plants. Even if it happens in your body, tissues on the sides of your body keep on increasing, keep on dividing. It will add to growth of your circumference, growth of the diameter of your body. In a plant body, this is what they do. They result in an increase in the girth of the plant body. Girth is basically fatness of the plant body. Okay, let's look at them one by one, children. Apical meristem to start with. Apical meristems, as I told you, are found in the shoot tips and root tips. Yes, just as you can see in this, apical meristems are right here at the tips of different parts of the plant body. And what do? Help in plant growth. Just use your common sense. If they have to be found at the tips of the shoot and tips of the roots, when they divide, when they continuously divide, because that's what meristematic tissues are there for, they are continuously dividing, it will add to increase in height. Right? This is what they do. Now, lateral meristem, as I told you, found along the sides of the roots and stems. And as you can see, they increase the width and diameter of the stem and roots. There are two major types, children, vascular cambium and cork cambium. Now, children, if you observe, it's the image of a tree that's given to you to represent lateral meristem and not like a normal green plant. Why do you think so? This is because lateral meristems are said to be especially important in trees which are like woody plants, as we call them, which grow up to be trees, which grow up to be huge trees or even small trees for that matter, which will develop bark and a woody stem as compared to what herbaceous plants and shrubs would have, because in herbs and shrubs also, they do have a lateral meristem, but they would have less of a function in them because they don't really need too much of an increase in fatness or girth of the plant. Unlike woody plants, which become trees, how fat they have to become and how much more the bark has to well develop properly in the case of a woody plant. This is why this image of a tree is there. Now, children, if I had to cut this tree this way and take one thin section, one circular section, and observe it under a microscope, this is how I would see it to be. Two major types of lateral meristem, which are cork cambium and vascular cambium, especially in woody trees or bigger trees. This is how these are the two major types of lateral meristem which we would see. Cork cambium, which eventually becomes the tender epidermis of a plant's outer layer. Epidermis is basically the outer layer of a plant body. Right? Cork cambium is something that will give rise to a better developed epidermis, which you will learn more in detail in your higher grades. For now, just understand this. Becomes the well-developed or the hard epidermal covering in a plant body. What about the vascular cambium? The vascular tissues in your plant body, are those which are concerned with the function of transportation, xylem and phloem, which we will learn in the upcoming session. For now, just understand, vascular cambium is that which gives rise to the xylem and phloem. Okay, so where would you find it? You would actually find it if you take it as a section in a very well developed tree. You would see that vascular cambium has the phloem on one side and xylem on the other side. Somewhere in the middle of the phloem and xylem, it forms a ring-like structure called the vascular cambium. Okay, children, but simply put, just remember this: lateral meristem is found along the sides of roots and stems, which helps increase its girth, increase in fatness of the plant body. Two major types, vascular cambium and cork cambium. Okay, now coming to the last type of meristem, which is intercalary meristem. Intercalary meristem, as I told you, would be found mainly at the internodes. What exactly is the internode? If you look at this or any other simple plant, which I can draw here for you, these regions on the stem from where leaves are arising, that is what we call a node. Okay, this is one node. This is another node. The space between adjacent nodes is what we call an internode. Okay, so intercalary meristems are really found so actively dividing in the region of the internode. Okay, so they are found at the bases of young leaves and internodes. What do you think they would do? They would be responsible for further lengthening of the stems and leaves, obviously, because this is the stem of the plant, and in the internode, if there is active division that's happening, obviously it would add to increase in the plant's height. Right. So remember, children, always keep in mind that it is because of intercalary meristem that even if there is grass, you know, in those grazing fields where cows, sheep, goats and all of them constantly come and eat the top parts of the grass, why do you think they keep growing back? Although like growing tips or the apical meristem is lost because the animals are eating them up, intercalary meristems may still be left over, and because of them the plant can still keep dividing actively, because it can grow back from intercalary meristems which are still active. Right, children? So that brings us to the end of the types of meristematic tissues in plants, which are apical, lateral and intercalary. All you have to do is literally understand the meaning of the terms apical, lateral and intercalary, and that's it. You will be able to guess what its function is also. Now children, before we wind up, let me ask you one question. What do you think will happen to the meristematic tissues once a plant has become old? Okay, I want you to have this in mind, and you must have some kind of a link which this answer, if you just think about this question, it will give you an answer which will serve as a link between this session and our upcoming session also. So do think about it, give it a serious thought. But before we wind up, a quick check and a homework question also coming up. Yes, the cells of dash divide actively. Xylem, phloem, meristem, none of these. Your time is up. The answer is meristem. Meristematic cells actively divide. Okay, question number 2. Both vascular cambium and cork cambium are examples of which of these? Apical meristem, lateral meristem, intercalary meristem, none of these. And your time is up. The answer is lateral meristem. Remember children, what type of plants need to grow to the sides mostly? Is it the green plants, tender green herbs or shrubs, or is it the woody plants or the trees? It should be the trees. They need a lot of lateral meristem to be found in the sides, which can add to increase in girth or increase in fatness of the plant body. So that becomes your answer. Now, dash is a type of meristem found at the base of young leaves and internodes. What is it? Apical, lateral, intercalary, or none of these? And your time is up. The answer is intercalary meristem. Remember, they are found between, found at the base of leaves and of course between adjacent nodes, which we call internodes. Okay, and great job if you have got all of these correctly, children. This was very, very simple. I understand. This is why we are going one step at a time. Today and the upcoming session is going to be exclusively dedicated to plant tissues. Okay, and the next 2 sessions we'll be learning animal tissues more in detail. So today you have learned about what tissues are, what tissues in general are, and what meristematic tissues are. Okay, and now comes your homework question. What do you think will happen to a tree if it does not develop cambium at all? Okay, think about it and come up with the best possible answers before the upcoming session. Okay, and children, do visit vdnt.in/ytpro. Make use of the coupon code AMBPRO to avail the best offers that we have right now on the Vedantu Pro subscription. Thank you, children, for joining me today, and do hit the like button if you have enjoyed the session and found it useful. Please do share it with all your class 9 CBSE friends, and also I think ICSE friends, and also honestly speaking NEET aspirants also, because tissues is also one chapter that NEET aspirants must know. It forms a base of a chapter which comes in class 11, structural organization in living organisms. So one step at a time, cells and then tissues, then go on to the complex stuff that you have to learn in needs level. Thank you very much, children, and do remember to subscribe right now. Hit the subscribe button in case you haven't subscribed to our channel Vedantu 9th and 10th English. And until we meet again, this is Ambika signing off. Take care, stay safe, stay happy, and stay positive. Bye-bye.